Greetings, 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 greetings. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The sun is out. I say, let's make this the best day ever. This is your brother Chief Kalanago with a video, and I'm going to give you guys some time to chime in. All right, we got to get down to some business. Okay, it's time to get solutions, things that work. And that's what I'm about. I'm about solutions. Yes, I know we have to point out the problems, the hurdles. Yes, all that's important. I'm not debating that. Okay. But at some point, we have to find the solutions that are actually effective. You know what I mean? So with that being said, allow me to take some time to just acknowledge the great spirit, universal intelligence, what we often call God. Want to give thanks to my ancestors. Thanks for guidance and protection, always using me as a vessel to do the work that I was manifested here to do. It's amazing when you have found your purpose, then your vision are not blurred. Okay, you see things. All right, so let's get into this. All right. I'm gonna get into a few things because a lot of times, with these videos, for me that I do, some people look at these videos from an emotional perspective. And I can't tell you don't be emotional. I don't know what your journey is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what your story is. However, I could tell you there are solutions and there are solutions. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about there are cures, a cure, C-U-R-E. When we're dealing with cures, we are dealing with pharmaceutical standpoints. Like that's what that's what they do. They don't give us remedies, they give us cures, right? And cures are not natural. And I'm going to tell you something you may or may not know. An herbalist cannot use the word cure in his or her documents. If an herbalist, go on YouTube and they become famous or whatever, and they go around telling people that they have cures, they could get sued because the word cure is patented by pharmaceuticals. So cures, they're not natural. Cures are they're just a band-aid. But when you have remedies, you see, remedies come from nature. And I tell people, always seek for a remedy and not a cure. So for over 400 years, almost 500 years, so-called Black people have been looking for cures. All right. And that's why they are not getting any remedies, because they're looking for cures. So when I do these videos, it's not to attack our brothers and sisters who call themselves Black or African American. No, it's just to open up your mind to let you know that that's a fight that doesn't have a light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm going to show you exactly where all this stemmed from. Our people have been doing it for over 500 years, if not more. And we haven't accomplished anything. You see what I'm saying? Because if we had gotten all the answers that we were seeking, or at least the majority of it, we wouldn't be in the position that we are in today. All right. So I just wanted to make that clear. Please do not take these videos as me attacking our people who call themselves Black or African American. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter where you are from. Okay. Whether you are from Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas. All right. If you are a carbonated being, you are an original. Okay. You are an original. So it really doesn't make a difference. We are indigenous to the planet. So this indigenous petition that I'm putting out, it's for indigenous people all over the world. But we have to realize that the foundation has always been here in the Americas. The world is waiting for us to get this right. The world is waiting for us to put this in perspective. And that's what this is all about. And this petition is not about asking for permission. It's not begging for rights. No, that's not what this is about. It's demanding. You see, there's a difference in asking, and there's a difference in asking and demanding. We're not asking you. The petition is just to show solidarity amongst indigenous people, to show that we come together, or we came together collectively, and we have one voice, and that's how we get things done. And I will show you the difference in if we continue the path of doing it as Black people, opposed to changing the mindset of who we truly are as indigenous people, and show you how we could get these results. Once again, my focus is not on the problem. I get at least 30 to 50 inboxes on Facebook, people promoting what the problem is, how many Black people getting shot. Guess what? That's not my reality. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't care. It doesn't mean that I don't have any empathy or sympathy. No, that's not what it means. But that's not my reality. Getting shot by the police is not my reality. It's not. Getting beat up in the street by the police is not my reality. Because I know the power of my mind. I know I am the one that creates my reality. I know I create my reality. So that's not my reality. So when people send me these videos, the truth of the matter is I don't look at them. I just look at the title and I delete it. No disrespect, because that's not my reality, man. We are creating our own world, family. Every second of the day, you are making a decision to change your life. But because, you see, those changes, they are so minute. Like I've said before, we don't see or feel the changes. But do you know how many thoughts that you generate per second? It's in the thousands, but we're not aware of that. You see what I'm saying? Do you know how many thoughts you have per day? Thousands of thoughts you have per day. Thousands. So every second you are thinking of something, and whatever you think of is a seed that you are planting. So if every video you get is about you getting shot, you can't breathe, no justice, that's what you're putting out there in the universe, and you wonder why things aren't changing. It is not because you call yourself. It's not because of the color of your skin. No. And you see, I kind of had to pull myself back on that statement I was about to make, because I would have to retract that statement. But the truth of the matter is, things are not happening to us because we are Black. Okay? Things are happening to us because we call ourselves Black. Now, I hope you hear what I'm saying. I'm going to repeat that. Things are happening to us not because we are Black, but these things are happening to us because we call ourselves Black. Because if you look at your skin, your complexion, there's no part of you that's Black. It's highly impossible. It is scientifically impossible for your complexion to be Black. So I want anybody on this video that's on this live right now, okay? Anybody on this live, or whether you catch the video later, prove to me that your skin is Black. Prove to me that. And once you have failed doing that, I want you to prove to me that Black is the nationality. And tell me again, who told you Black was a race? Black is not a race. Black is a color. You feel me? You feel me? So why are our people so prone to self-destruction? Come on, man. Because you know what? The media is pushing that. So I'm asking you, I cannot tell you what to do, because you see, I cannot care about your freedom more than you. I cannot care about your success more than you. I cannot care about your liberation more than you. You have to make that determination. And I'm going to talk to you today about self-determination. Okay? I'm going to talk to you about that and show you the difference, the contrast between fighting as a black man or a woman and standing as an indigenous man or woman. Now, you again, I'm choosing my words very wisely. You heard what I said. I said, I'm going to show you the difference between fighting as a black man and a black woman and standing as an indigenous man or woman. Because you see, when you're black and African American, you have to fight. You have to keep fighting because it's a fight. When you are indigenous, you are making a stand. Black people cannot make a stand because they don't exist, family. So once again, please do not take it personal. What I'm telling you this out of love because it's facts. It's truth. And a lot of people fall. They become victims of propaganda, social media. You see what I'm saying? Black power. Black has no power. It's a beautiful color. Oh, I love a black car. Man, I love black shirts and black pants. In fact, I look great in black. But I'm not black. And they're not white either. Okay? So until we start changing our mindset and making that mental paradigm shift to realize that we are the ones that's causing everything that's happening to us, it's called cause and effect. Cause and effect. But you see, it's a spiritual thing. And once you have lost your spirituality, then you have lost who you are. You feel me? So let us get into this. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to show you the difference. Why black people will not. And I'm not telling you that it's not going to change. I'm going to show you why black people will never have rights. Because it wasn't meant to be that way. You feel me? It wasn't meant to be that way. It wasn't coded that way. And if after you hear this information and you see this video and you want to continue to be black, then hey, you know what? You planted your own seeds. And the bed that you make, that's the bed that you got to lie in. So I'm asking you, please, do me a favor. While we are looking at this video, share the video. Okay? Share the video. Don't send me videos of black people getting shot by the police and asking me to let it go viral. I don't want that to go viral. That's not my reality. You see, that creates fear. Okay? I'm not afraid of the police. You feel me? The police say they're here to do a job. Let them do their job. Their job is not to kill me. I ain't black. And I'm not saying their job is to kill black people either that call themselves black. I'm not saying that. But all I'm just saying is when you call yourself certain things and you put yourself in a certain category, you make yourself a target because now you're dealing with their codes. And it just is what it is, man. It's called hard facts, facts over feelings. Okay, truth over fiction. That's what it is. So don't send me these videos. That's not my reality. I'm not going to make that go viral. The videos that should go viral is a video like this. Give people something to think about. Not to put fear in their mind. No. So let me share my screen. Okay. We all actors. We all actors. We came here, we all wrote our script and we came here to play it off. We are all part of a playwright. Okay. You are the director of your own life. That means you wrote that script. And you came here to play it out. So everybody's an actor. It just depends on what movie you play it in. That's all it is. You decide what movie you want to play in. If you look at every movie, right? Look at the story of every hero or hero, right? They have to go through the struggle at the end for them to be liberated. That's just the story. But at the end, they're always vindicated. How long have we been fighting? When is our time for vindication? Well, I'm here to tell you, We could have it now. We just have to change our strategies. Okay? Change the way we do things. What we have been doing for 500 years, it hasn't been working. It's not going to work, family. It's not going to work. So why not just change something? There's nothing wrong in change. You're changing every single day. You just don't know it. Okay? All right. Share screen. And all this information I'm sharing with you, I got that in the link of the video as well. So you have a chance to get that, all right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the code noir. The code noir means the black code, all right? And I also put that in the link for you guys below. And you would have that right there, okay? Let's read a little bit. The Black Code, Edict of the King, concerning the enforcement of order in the French American islands from the month of March 1685. All right, and let me tell y'all something. When they're talking about the king, they're not talking about a pale king. You see, that's where a lot of you got it messed up. Okay, yes, the pale man took over the game, but in the 1600s, the kings looked just like you and I. Because I know a lot of you are still in denial. And I keep telling you, if you cannot swim, get off the Nile. Because the Nile is a river that runs from the Americas all the way into Africa. That is the Nile. So if you can't swim, get out the Nile. Okay? Get out the Nile. You feel me? So in the 1600s, the king that they're talking about and the queens they're talking about, they look just like you and I. So it was people who looked just like us who called us black. Okay? All right. Let's go. Louise, what it says, concerning the enforcement of order in the French American islands from the month of March 1685, registered at the Sovereign Council of Saint Dominique, okay, May 6, 1687. Louis, by the grace of God, King of France and Navarre or Navarra or Navarre, to all present and to come, greetings. Since we owe equally our attention to all the peoples of that divine province, has put under our obedience. You hear that? It's a divine province, and those people will put what? Under their obedience. But they said what? By the grace of God, right? So that's why I keep telling you, the system God is not our God. And I'm always mindful when I speak of when I say their God is not our God. And once again, this has nothing to do with the color of your skin, because it was people like us that came here and forced Christianity on us. But a lot of you, again, are in denial. Okay, let's read. We had examined in our presence the memoranda that have been sent to us by the officers in our American islands, by whom, having been informed that they need our authority and our justice to maintain the discipline of what? The Catholic, Apostolic, and Roman Church, all right, there to regulate the status and condition of the slaves in our said islands, all right? Look at that word again, justice. Don't forget, the Catholic Church gave you Judaism, Christianism, and Islam. All right? Like I told y'all before. Okay? Like I told y'all before. All right? Remember, Christianity is an army. Islam is an army. Judaism is an army, because they are what? They are all religions. I've broken that down in videos. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse with that. They are legions. Go look at the etymology of legion. A legion is an army. But when they fell, they had to reinstitute their armies. So what they did it in the guise of what we call religion today. A religion is nothing but a reinsurgence of an army. Christianity is an army of their God. Islam is an army of their God. Judaism is an army of their God. So we became subjects of their gods. Okay? Even within our own selves, when you had Upper and Lower Egypt, Upper and Lower Egypt, you had Amun and you had Ra. Those were two different gods. And they fought each other. And sometimes when they fought against the enemy, they came together and they created Amun-Ra. There was two different gods that came together. So a lot of people think they know the story, but they don't know the story. And it's okay to have bits and pieces, but you have to be able to put those pieces together to make sense of the puzzle. You feel me? So religion is nothing but an army. As a matter of fact, you know what? I've always said I'm for not just talking about it, show it. And I've showed it before, but I'm going to show it again. Okay? I'm going to show it again. Etymology of legion. Okay? I'm going to show it again. Because I know, you see, repetition is beautiful, right? And that's how they program people. That's what they do. So I'm going to show it again. I've done videos and broken that down, but I'm going to show you again. What is a legion? All right? A legion. You see, I keep telling y'all, you're still governed by Rome. That's why they say Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay? It wasn't built in a day. No. It was months and years and decades, centuries of beating us down. All right? Now, legion, the Roman legion, a squad, a band, a company, Roman legion, the Roman legion, body of what? Body of soldiers, a levy of troops. Okay? So that's what a religion is. It's a resurgence or a reintroduction of a legion, an army. Hence you have Christianity, Islam, Judaism. They are all armies. Okay? You feel me? They are all armies, my brothers and sisters. And once again, when I say brothers and sisters, I'm not just talking about people who look like me. I don't play these color games. And nobody could tell me who to be or what to be. I deal with people how they deal with me. Okay? You love me, I'm going to love you back. Okay? You take my left eye, I'm going to take your right eye. That is just the law of nature. Self-preservation. So there's no law against self-defense. Okay? I've been telling you guys that from day one. A legion is a reinsurgence of an army, and all religions are armies. So when you're a Christian, you're part of the Christian army. And all these armies came to fight against we, the indigenous people. We were not Christians. We were not Muslims. We didn't have Islam. We didn't have Judaism. We didn't have none of that. So let's get back to the Christian codes. Okay? We are reading here now. Apostolic and Roman Church there and to regulate the status and the conditions of the slaves in our islands, and the desiring to provide for this and to have them know that although they live in the regions infinitely, okay, removed from our normal residence, we are always present to them, not only by the range of our power, but also by the promptness of our attempts to assist them in their needs. For these reasons, by the advice of our council and by our certain knowledge, full power, and loyal authority, we have said ruled and ordered, we say rule and order, which and are pleased by that which follows. Okay, the first article. First article. We wish and intend that the edict by the late king of glorious memory, our very honored Lord and Father of what? 23rd April 1615, be enforced on our islands. By this we charge all our officers to evict from our islands all the Jews who have established their residence there, to whom as to declared enemies of Christian name, we order to have left within 3 months from the day of publication of these present edicts, or face confiscation of body and property. First, I read the first article. Okay. Second, Article 2. All the slaves who will be in our islands will be baptized and introduced in the Catholic, Apostolic, and Roman religion. Okay? Now, family, once again, all the slaves who will be in our islands, it doesn't necessarily mean because you was a slave, you came from Africa. It just means that we became enslaved in our land. We became enslaved in our land. But it says what? Will be baptized and instructed in Catholic, Apostolic, and Roman religion. And guess what? Christianity is a Roman religion. Islam, Judaism, they all are Abrahamic faiths. All right? That's why I tell people I'm not a descendant of Abraham. Okay? I'm not a descendant of Adam and Eve. Those are not my people. My people existed before that. I came from a people of time immemorial that never had a beginning. Now you determine who you are. I know who I am. Now, let's proceed. We charge the planters who will buy newly arrived negress. Negress is the female version of Negro, to inform the governor and intendant of the said islands within a week at the latest, or face discriminatory fine. These officials will give the necessary orders to have them instructed and baptized within an appropriate time. That means you had a certain time to get baptized or you will die. All right? Let's read some more, please. Number 3, we forbid any public exercise of any religion other than Catholic, Apostolic, and Roman. We wish that the offenders be punished as rebels and disobedient to our orders. So once again, there is nothing new under the sun. Anytime you don't agree with the Roman system, you will be considered a rebel. Okay, that's what you'll be considered, a rebel. We prohibit all the congregations for this end, which we declare conventicules, illicit and seditious, subject to the same penalty which will be levied against masters who allow or tolerate them among their slaves. Number 4, no overseers will be given charge of negress who do not profess the Catholic, Apostolic, and Roman religion, on a pain of confiscation of the said negress from the masters who have given this charge to them, of discretionary punishment of the overseers who accepted said charge. Number 5, we forbid our subjects. Isn't that what they call us today? Subjects. All right? Like I keep telling y'all, you are still being governed by the Roman Empire. And like I told y'all before, the Roman Empire were people who look just like us. But a lot of you are still in denial. But Chief Kalanago is going to keep bringing that light. We forbid our subjects of the so-called Reformed religion to disturb or prevent our other subjects, even their slaves, from free exercise of Catholic, Apostolic, and Roman religion on pain of exemplary punishment. Number 6, we charge all our subjects, whatever their status and condition, to observe Sundays and holidays that are kept by our subject of the Catholic, apostolic, and Roman religion. We forbid them to work or to make their slaves work on these days from the hour of midnight until other midnight, either in agriculture, the manufacture of sugar, or all other works, on pain of fine and discretionary punishment of the masters and confiscation of sugar and of the said slaves who will be caught by our officers in their work. Number 7, equally we forbid the holding of negri markets and all other markets the said days on similar pains, including confiscation of the merchandise that will be found then at the market and discretionary fine against the merchants. It was all business as usual. Just like today, being called Black and African American is a business. All right, it's a business. Nothing has changed. All right, we're still living in that legal plantation. And I'm showing you why this needs to change. So please take your emotions out of it and see it for what it is. All right, and get passionate about fighting for something that's going to work. Number 8, we declare our subjects who are not of Catholic, apostolic, and Roman religion incapable in the future of contracting a valid marriage. Like I told y'all before, marriage is a contract. Marriage is a contract. And a lot of you get tricked into this contract because you think you're in love. You may be in love, but it's a contract. And that contract is not between you and the universal creator. I guarantee you that. And I've broken down videos on that. But we'll leave that alone for now. We declare bastards the children born of such unions, which we desire to be held and considered, we hold and we consider to be truly concubinage. Okay? Number 9, the free man who will have one or several children from their concubinage with their slaves, together with the masters who permitted this, will each be condemned to a fine of 2,000 pounds of sugar. And if they are the masters of the slave by whom they have had the said children, we wish that beyond the fine they be deprived of the slave and the children, and that she and they be confiscated for the profit of the royal hospital without ever being manumitted. All right. Nevertheless, we do not intend for the present article to be enforced if the man who was not married to an other person during his concubinage with his slave would marry in the church the said slave, who by this means will be manumitted, and the children rendered free and legitimate. So isn't it the same thing that's going on today? They take the father out of the homes. So when the mother goes to the hospital, there's no father. It's the same system. It's the same system. All right? It's the same system, man. Anyway, I'm not going to read all of that because it's a whole lot of Christian codes. They're called the Black Christian codes, and those are of 16, I think that's of 1685. Let's go to the other set of Christian codes of 1724. All right? The Christian Black codes of 1724. All right? I'm not making this up. They are the Christian codes. Why do you think they used to have the churches? The churches was where they had the entrapment. Okay? The churches was where they laid down the laws. Okay? And even up to this day, that's where our people are still trapped, in them same churches, using these pastors and ministers. They were nothing but the overseers, and they are still the overseers today, controlling the sheep. But once again, like I said, a lot of you are in denial. A lot of you are in denial, but it can't change the fact. So let's look at the Christian codes of 1724. The Christian Black codes of 1724 were initiated during the Reconstruction after the Civil War to control blacks after they were emancipated, passed by southern states. Instead of giving blacks the same rights as white people, the courts limited the blacks' freedom severely. They included that blacks had to be in service of a white person, that they could not have congregations together, that they could not speak out, and that they could not have weapons. Isn't that the same thing today? If you're a black or African American, the Second Amendment don't apply to you. Okay? And if they see a bunch of you pull up on a corner, they could disseminate that crowd. Okay? So know that those things, the black Christian code still apply. You cannot walk around and exercise your Second Amendment right because you are a subject. So when I keep telling you everything that's happening to us is because of us, I hope you realize what I'm saying. Because the status that you're in, it doesn't permit you or allow you to exercise those rights. That's why you are dead. You don't exist. Let us proceed. We are reading here now. They also included that blacks could not go out without a white supervisor. Thus, blacks had to take on the religions and holidays and gods of the ratification of the 13th Amendment in what? 1865. Although many southern states adopted black codes to keep former slaves from voting and imposed other restrictions, the 14th and the 15th Amendments was to supposedly have eliminated these codes, but as you read them down below and study the law of the land in conjunction with the religion and politics, you will discover that these codes have been modernized in a disguise and many are still in effect. Now, how many times I got to tell you this? I got to tell you the same thing over and over again, family. It's religion and politics that have you enslaved. Every Sunday you in the church, every Saturday you in the church, praying to a God that's not yours. And it's disguised under the black Christian codes. Number one, Article 1, decrease the expulsion of the Jews from the colony. 2, make it imperative on masters to impart religion instructions to their slaves. 3, permits the exercise of Roman Catholics' creed only. Every other mode of worship is prohibited. Why do you think our American Indian ancestors, when they were forced to go into the churches, they had to do the Indian dance, the rain dance, the war dance? Okay? They had to do it in the church. What do you think the crib dance is? What do you think the Holy Ghost step, the Holy Ghost stomp is? That's American Indian dances. They had to take the feathers out of their head and put it on their hats in church. Why do you think our people used to have feathers in their hats in the churches? Come on, man. Number 4, Negroes placed under the direction of supervision of any other person than a Catholic are liable to what? Confiscation. So our people became Christians by force. And you don't think these ministers know? They know the truth. But it's a business. They are in the business of promoting slavery, keeping people as sheep. Now, I know a lot of you may take this personal, but like I said, it's facts over feelings. Okay, number 5, Sundays and holidays are to be strictly observed. All Negroes found at work on these days are to be confiscated. Number 6, we forbid all white subjects of both sexes to marry with the blacks under the penalty of being fined and subjected to some other arbitrary punishment. We forbid all curates, priests, or missionaries of our secular or regular clergy, and even our chaplains in our navy to sanction such marriages. We also forbid all of our white subjects, because they were white subjects as well. Okay, they were white slaves as well, and even the mutilated or free-born blacks to live in a state of concubinage with slaves. Should there be any issue from the kind of intercourse, it is our will that the person so offending, and the master of the slave should be paid a fine of 300 livres. Should said issue be the result of concubinage of the master his slave, said master shall not only pay the fine, but be deprived of the slave and of children, who shall be adjudged to the hospital of the locality, and said slave shall be forever incapable of being set free. What do you think happened, right? It's the same thing. That's what the birth certificate is. It just took the place of that new contract. When you went to the hospital, they had all these terms and conditions. But now you do it at will. You do it at will. You go, you go deliver your baby. What you do? Why do you call it? It's called a delivery room. You see, a lot of you don't think about those words, but I'm here to open up your mind. Yes, you are delivering a baby to them. It's called a delivery room. Okay? And a doctor is doctoring those papers. Okay? Come on, man. But it's right there in your faces. Right? But it says, but shall this illicit intercourse have existed between a free black and his slave, when said slave, according to the forms described by the church, here goes the church again, playing a role in the enslavement, right, shall become free and legitimate, and in such case, there shall be no application of the penalties mentioned in the present article. Number 7, the ceremonies of forms prescribed by the ordinance, same thing they have today, codes and ordinances, of Louis, and by the edict of 1691, for marriage shall be observed both with the regard to a free person and slaves, but the consent of the father and the mother of the slave is what? Not necessary. Why do you think ACS and CPS and child care services, all these people could what? Come take your children, because your consent is not necessary, because you already signed the birth certificate, which is a contract, and you what? You delivered your baby in a delivery room, and you gave it up. You gave it to them. Okay? So the consent of the mother and father shall not be necessary. And back in the days, it used to be the church, the missionaries, to come get the baby and enforce the laws. Now they have their policy enforcers. All right? That of the master shall be the only one required. So the judge into this society is the master that makes that decision. Don't matter if you're wrong or you're right, a judge could make a decision and send you to the execution bench. So if you don't realize, you have to get away from this black mindset so that you could get away, so that these black codes don't apply to you. I don't know what else to tell you again, family. I don't know what else to tell you. I cannot help you unless you're willing to help yourself. Okay? So I'm telling you, give up this foolish pride. But I'm not telling you, I'm asking you. Because I cannot tell you to do anything. I cannot save you. I'm not here to save anybody. I can't be your leader. I'm not here to lead anybody. I am here to walk with you for those who are willing to walk with me. Article 8. We forbid all curates to process to the effect marriages between slaves without the proof of consent of their master. And we also forbid all masters to force their slaves into marriages against their will. Now let's read that again. All right? Marriages between the slave without proof of consent of the master. Guess what the proof and the consent of the master is in today's age? The marriage certificate. If you don't have that, they don't think your marriage is legit. You see what I'm saying? So everything they do, they just changed it. And they just modernize it. That's all it is. That's all it is. But you think, for your woman think, oh, for you to prove your love, you have to marry me. You have to go within a church. You have to get the ring. You have to go get permission. A license is asking for permission. And a lot of you men fall victim to that. Because a lot of you are weak and ignorant. And a lot of you are going to take offense to what I'm saying, but it is what it is. And don't get me wrong. We are all ignorant to something. All I'm saying is it's time to change that. There is nothing wrong in being ignorant if you are curious. You see what I'm saying? They say ignorance is bliss. I say no. I say curiosity is bliss because we were all born ignorant. All ignorance means is lack of knowledge, not to be aware. I am ignorant of a lot of things. Okay? And I'm proud of that because you know what? It gives me the motivation to be curious, to learn, to change that. That's why I seek knowledge. Okay? So stop falling victim to, oh, well, if you don't love me, if you don't want to marry me, you don't love me, if you don't want to go get the certificate. No, man. Oh, well, if you don't put your name on your birth certificate, you're not a good father. You see, it's mental. You're being tricked into those things, man. You're being tricked. So my sisters, don't take no offense to that. You are also a victim as well because they play on your emotions. And the truth of the matter is anytime you have the mind of, the mind of the women of any nation, then you control the men and the children. That's just facts. 99% of men, if not 100% of men who are actually in jail right now is because of a woman. And please don't take this the wrong way. It is either because you're doing something to impress her. It is because you're doing something to take care of your family. That's just what it is. Because we came here to glorify our women, to impress our women. So my sisters, when I say this, I'm not saying this to say that it's your fault. I'm just letting you know that's just how it is designed. Okay? Because you are our prize. Okay? You are our prize, man. You are our glory. So anytime they take you, they take your mind, they take our glory. And that's what they have to do. They have to get your mind. You feel me? Go interview 100% of men in jail. I promise you, if not all of them, they went to jail because they had to impress a woman. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a woman's fault because a lot of you are going to misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm just letting you know how important our women are because they are the ones that birth the nation. You control their mind, you control the children, you control the men. It's that simple. So our women are the key. The key. We gotta teach them how to change that mindset. And as men, we stand with them to protect them. But only they could make that change. All right? And when I say only they could make that change, I'm talking about because they are the ones that's grooming that baby from inception. Because the man is not around 24/7, but she gets to be every day she's with that baby for 9 months, 8 months, talking to that baby. Whether the man is active or not, she's always the one there 24/7. So if her mind ain't right, the children ain't gonna be right. So we all gotta step up. We gotta do this collectively. You feel me? Collectively. Number 8. We forbid, oh, I read that already. Number 9. Children issued from the marriage of slaves shall follow the condition of their parents and shall belong to the master of the wife and not of the what? Of the husband. You see, again, I'm proving to you the things that I'm saying. If the husband and the wife have different masters, okay, because it's always the woman is the key. The woman is the key. What do they say, right? Mother's baby, father's maybe, right? It's always the woman because she's the key. My sisters, women, you are the key. You are the key. Mama's baby, father's maybe, okay? Because a woman always know who her baby is. It comes from her. A father could always be a guest. All right, number 10. If the husband be a slave and the wife a free woman, it is our will that their children of whatever sex they be shall share the condition of what? Their mother, and be as free as she, notwithstanding servitude of their father. And if the father be free and the mother a slave, then the children shall be what? A slave. And I'm proving to you again. Let's read number 10, family. Why do you think it is significant for the mother to sign the birth certificate? They don't give a damn whether the father signed or not, because it's irrelevant. They made him irrelevant. Come on, man. Let's read number 10 again. If the husband be a slave and the wife a free woman, pay attention to what I'm saying. If it is our will that their children of whatever sex they be shall share the condition of what? The mother. Because that's her property. It came from her. All right? And be as free as she, notwithstanding servitude of the father. And if the father be free and the mother a slave, then the child is a slave. I hope you hear what I'm saying. So if our women learn to free their minds and stand up as the indigenous women that they are, then your children will be free. But if you continue to be a slave, you continue to sign these contracts, don't get mad when ACS and CPS come take their property, because you gave it up. In the delivery room, you delivered it to them. And after you made the delivery, you signed the contract and say, yes, I acknowledge the delivery. Now it's yours. And then what we're going to do, let's put a seal on it, a seal of the state to seal the deal. What's the seal? To put together so that it don't come apart. It's a contract, it's a covenant. All righty, let's proceed. Article 11, masters shall have their Christian slaves buried in consecrated grounds. Number 12, we forbid slaves to carry offensive weapons or heavy sticks under the penalty of being whipped. All right? And of having said weapons confiscated for the benefit of persons seizing the same. Come on, man. It's not the same thing today. You cannot walk around with guns and exercise your Second Amendment right, because you're still a slave. It's an offense. You could even carry sticks. You would be whipped. But y'all still want to be black and African American. Okay? An exception is made in favor of those slaves who are hunting or are shooting for their masters and who carry with them a written permission that effect or are being or are bring designated by some known mark or badge. Okay? You need permission. Isn't that what the same thing today? You got to get what? A permit to protect yourself. Come on. Or you have to be a part of their association and you have a known mark or a badge. Come on, man. Anyway, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to stop on 13 because 13 is such a beautiful number. I like the number 13. It is good luck. 13. Y'all can read the rest. It's in the link below. We forbid slaves belonging to different masters to gather in crowds, either by day or night, under the pretext of a wedding or for any other cause, either at the dwelling or on the grounds of one of their masters or elsewhere, unless on the highways or in scheduled places, under the penalty of corporal punishment, which shall not be less than the whip. In the case of frequent offenses of this kind, or of the kind rather, the offender shall be branded with the mark of the fleur de luce. And should there be aggravating circumstances, capital punishment may be applied at the discretion of the judge. You hear that? The judges. Didn't I tell you that? It all begins and ends with their judges. Man, y'all gonna learn today. All right? Y'all gonna learn today. We command all of our subject, be they officials or not, to seize offenders, to arrest and conduct them to prison, although there should be not judgment against them. All right? Isn't that what they do today? They have our brothers and sisters who look like us, doing their dirty work, taking our people, their people, to prison because of their ignorance. All right? I'm going to stop there. You could read the rest. All right? All right. Now, I'm going to just break down that for you and summarize, because I'm getting ready to step into another realm of reality. Okay? So I'm showing you, being Black and African American, you are still under these codes, these Christian codes. All right? It's not going to change. They are still in effect today. I don't care how much you march. I don't care how much you protest. I don't care how many buildings you burn down. Okay? You are the subjects of these Christian codes. All right? You are programmed to that. Those are your laws. They are the ordinances and codes that govern your life. And you thinking marching in the streets is going to change? No. Marching in the streets is not a legal action. It is not. You see, you have to go in and change these things. That's how we make the change, by changing these laws. But how do you change the laws? You can't change it by being Black, no, because it is stigmatized. They go together. They are coherent. Black people cannot escape the Black Christian codes. Hence the word Black is in there. But when you realize that you are not Black, you are not African American, don't matter where you are in the world or where you're from in the world, you are indigenous, now we are coming here. So now you're going from a place of asking for permission to standing and demanding. That's why this petition is important. That's how we get change. Effective change, that is. Okay? Now, American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People was instituted or adopted on June 15, 2016 by Donald Trump. Okay? And we're going to read, and you in your own mind, I would like for you to contrast between the Black Christian codes and the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, and just see the difference. Okay? See the difference in rights and privileges. All right? Because when you are Black, you have privileges that may or may not be given to you. You may get the permission to exercise those privileges. But let us look at when you have rights as indigenous people. Okay? We're going to go straight into the articles. And I've gone over this before, but I have to keep reminding you, because we keep going down that same spiral, okay? Repeating the same thing over and expecting a different result. If y'all want to continue to fight as Black people, go ahead. And don't get me wrong. The problem is those same Black people are the indigenous people. They just don't know that. So it's our duty to educate them. Share the video. Let them see the light. Now, Section 1, Indigenous People, Scope of Application. Article 1. The American Declaration on the Rights, you see that? The rights. You have rights. Okay? Of indigenous peoples applies to indigenous people of what? The Americas. Indigenous people of the Americas. Now, you have to know whether you're indigenous or not. Number 2, self-identification as indigenous peoples will be a fundamental criteria for determining to whom this declaration applies. I'm going to read that again. You see, Black people don't have self-determination because it's already determined that they're dead in law. Now, a lot of you may dislike this video. I'm not doing this for likes. Like I said, it's facts over feelings. So if you continue to stay in the Nile, you're going to drown. But I'm here to extend a hand. if you want to come out of the Nile and step onto the land and stand. Black people are being governed by admiralty law. Admiralty law means that you are not on the land. You are in the ocean. You are on a ship. And when there is a ship, there is motion. All right? Why do you think when you go to court, you have to what? Put in a motion. Huh? Put in a motion to move the court. The court is a ship. Y'all got to learn today if you really want to learn. That's why they play with what? Your emotions. Because it's all about emotion. It's all about emotion. You dig? You're going down. So please step on the land. Ask the indigenous people. When you're on the land, you have rights. Okay? When you're in the ocean, you have to kind of fiddle and play and see what happens with the motion of the ocean. And somebody may or may not throw you a life jacket. 9 out of 10 times they want to put you in a straight jacket. I'm not a rapper, but I got some rhymes. All right? So I'm showing you the difference between you being indigenous like we are and you wanting to be black and African American. I'm showing you how to win. Like I told you, when I fight to win. I don't fight from an emotional standpoint. I don't react, I respond. You feel me? Let us continue. Number 2, self-identification. You hear that? When you are black, that's not self-identification. No, that was given to you. That was suggested. Suggested identification. Now, self-identification as indigenous peoples will be a fundamental criteria for determining to whom this declaration applies. What does that mean? It means that if you say that you are indigenous, then this declaration applies to you. Man, how easy is that? The status shall respect, not status, but pardon me, the states shall respect the right to such self-identification as indigenous people. Guess what? Individually, collectively, in keeping with the practices and the institutions of each indigenous people. What? Did it say of the practices of the slave master? No. You see the difference between this and the Black Christian codes? You have to do what the master says. You have to keep with the practices of the institutions of the masters. You feel me? When you are indigenous, it's keeping with the practices of what? The institutions of each indigenous people. We have to create our own indigenous institutions, family. That's how we could win. Number 2, okay? Article 2. The state shall recognize and respect the multicultural and multilingual character of indigenous people who are an integral part of what? Societies, right? So you don't have to be federally recognized. The moment you know that you're indigenous, guess what? It says what? The states shall recognize and respect that. Man, somebody stop me. Well, don't. All I'm just asking is to share the information. Article 3. Indigenous people have the right to what? Self-determination. Do you know what self-determination means? You have a right to govern yourself. Stop being childish. Be an adult for once. Stop being a minority. A minor is a child. Be the majority for once, meaning that you are competent. You are intelligent. You are a living, breathing man and woman. By virtue of the right, they freely determine. You hear that? They freely determine. You hear that? Black people cannot be free, family, because of these codes. And when you go up against your master, it's an act of war. Okay? By the virtue of that right, they freely determine their what? Their political status, family. Isn't that what this is all about? Your politicians, the ones that's representing you, the Black Caucus, they're not doing anything for us because they are determining our political status by calling you black. But when you are indigenous, what? You decide, you freely have the right to determine your what? Your political status and what? Freely pursue what? Economic and social and cultural development, family. Come on. That's why I keep telling you, anybody on YouTube that's doing videos calling you black, they are your enemy. They are your enemy. But you're thinking they are your friends. I keep telling you, man, your friends are your frenemies. They are nothing but your frenemies. Yes, go tell them Chief Kalinago said so. Because they know themselves. They do it because it's paying them. They do it because they're getting into your emotions. All right? That's what they do. But I don't care if this video is not popular. I don't care if you dislike it. I'm not going to here sell you that you're black. I'm not going to do you that injustice. Because you see, whatever I put out there in the universe, if I know I'm doing you an injustice, guess what? I'm doing an injustice to myself. The universe is going to take care of me tenfold. So I'm always going to stand on righteousness. I'm always going to walk in the light. And the path that I choose is the one that's less traveled. And I'm cool with that. It's okay. I'm all right with that. If I have to do it alone, so be it. So be it. Okay? Let us proceed. Number 4, nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as implying for any state, people, group, or person any right to engage in any activity or to perform any act contrary to the Charter of the Organization of American States and the Charter of the United Nations, or construed as authorizing or encouraging any action which would dismember or impair totally or in part the territorial integrity or political unity of sovereign and independent states. What they are saying here, yes, you have a right to be free. You have a right to exercise your political, social, and economic rights, but don't infringe on other people's rights. And I respect that. I respect that. But we have a right to self-govern, and you also have to respect that. That's why you gave us this declaration on June 15th, 2016. I think it was 2016 or 2015. Let me just make sure. I'll come back to Article 5 in a minute. All right. June 15th, 2016. Yes. All right. So let's go to Article 5. I may or may not read the entire thing, but let's see how far we're going to go. Right. Now we're going to talk about human rights. You see, when you were talking about human rights, you were talking about indigenous people. Now, again, please do not take this the wrong way. Black people don't have human rights because they are considered to be cattle, chattel. Okay? I'm just telling y'all the truth, man. It's called tough love. Human rights and collective rights. Number 5, full effect and observance of human rights. Indigenous people and persons have the right to full enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms, as recognized in the Charter of the United Nations, the Charter of the Organizations of American States, and international human rights law. You see, once you take yourself from the black status to who we truly are, which is indigenous, now it becomes international. You're no longer personal property. You are no longer a subject. You are no longer a ward of the state. It becomes an international issue. Now you see the difference between the black Christian codes that black people are being governed by and you who are truly indigenous thinking you are black. You see the difference between begging for privileges and standing and demanding your rights. It is all contracts, not just physically, but also spiritually. Okay? Number 6, collective rights. Indigenous people have collective rights that are indispensable for their existence, well-being, and integral development as peoples. In this regard, the states recognize and respect the right of indigenous peoples to what? Their collective action, to their judicial, social, and political and economic systems or institutions. Yes, our judicial systems. We have a right to have our own courts. But you see, you want to be black. Show me anywhere you see black people can have a court. They can't do that. But we, the indigenous people, we can. Social and political and economic systems or institutions, to our own cultures, to profess and practice our spiritual beliefs, to use our own tongues and languages, to our lands, territories, and resources. States shall promote with the full and effective, it says what, effective participation of indigenous peoples, the harmonious coexistence of the rights and systems of different population groups and cultures. Number 7, gender equality. Indigenous women have the right to recognition, protection, and enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms and provided for in international law, free of all forms of discrimination. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. I'm telling you, you have a right to self-determine. I'm just letting you know, black means you are dead in law, you don't exist. So to answer your question, you be who you want to be. But I'm sharing with you what's going to get you results. Okay? If you want to call yourself a goat, that's on you. I cannot tell you what to do. I'm just telling you I'm just showing you who you truly are, and you make the determination of how you want to move forward. Okay? I'm not here to sell you anything. Number 2, states recognize that violence against indigenous peoples and persons, particularly women, hinders or nullifies the enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms. Number 3, states shall adopt the necessary measures in conjunction with the indigenous peoples to prevent and eradicate all forms of violence and discrimination, particularly against indigenous women and children. All right. So anytime there's any decision affecting our women and children, we are supposed to be at the table. Family, I could only show you how to win, but we have to do it collectively. Okay. Number 8, Article 8. Give me a second here. Article 8, right to belong to indigenous peoples. Indigenous persons and communities have the right to belong to one or more indigenous peoples in accordance with the identity, traditions, customs, and systems of belonging to each people. No discrimination of any kind. It says, it doesn't say some discrimination or certain discrimination. No, it says no discrimination of any kind may arise from the exercise of such right. None whatsoever. Number 9, judicial personality. The state shall recognize fully the judicial personality of indigenous peoples, respecting indigenous forms of what? Organizations. Your government is your organization. And promoting the full exercise of the rights recognized in this declaration. They have to respect it. After all, they are bound by it. Okay? Number 10, rejection of assimilation. 1, indigenous people have the right to maintain, express, and freely develop their cultural identity in all respects, free from any external attempt at assimilation. So when I tell you I'm indigenous, don't tell me I'm black or African American. All right? Or else I'm going to sue you for redress. I'm showing y'all how to win, man. Number 2, the state shall not carry out, adopt, support, or favor any policy to assimilate the indigenous peoples or to destroy their culture. I'm going to read that again. The state shall not carry out, adopt, support, or favor. It didn't say some, but it says any policy to assimilate the indigenous peoples or to destroy their cultures. You cannot force me to assimilate. You can't. 11, protection against genocide. Indigenous peoples have the right to not be subjected to any form of genocide, to attempt extermination, to exterminate them, including paper genocide. Okay? Including paper genocide. Number 12, guarantees against racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and other related forms of intolerance. Indigenous people have the right not to be subjected to racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and other related forms of intolerance. The state shall adopt the preventive and corrective measures necessary for the full and effective protection of this right. Okay? Section 3, cultural identity. Article 13, right to cultural identity and integrity. 1. Indigenous peoples have the right to their own cultural identity and integrity and to their cultural heritage, both tangible and intangible, including historic and ancestral heritage, and the protection, preservation, maintenance, and development of the cultural heritage for their collective continuity and that of their members, and so as to transmit that their heritage to future generations. Number 2, states shall provide redress. Here goes that word redress. You see, it's not reparations. Reparations means to repair. Okay? States shall provide redress through effective, it didn't say ineffective. No, through effective mechanisms which may include restitution, okay, developed in conjunction with what? Indigenous peoples. They have to work with us when we seek redress and restitution. You see what I'm saying? To restore with respect to their cultural, intellectual, religious, and spiritual property taken without their free, prior, and informed consent or in violation of their laws. Let me ask you a question, brothers and sisters. What are our laws? Our tradition and customs? Where are our organizations? Come on. Number 3, indigenous people have the right, let's just say we, indigenous people have the right to the recognition and respect for all our ways of life, worldviews, spirituality, uses and customs, norms and traditions, forms of social, economic, and political organizations, forms of transmission of knowledge, institutions, practices, beliefs, values, dress, and languages, recognizing our interrelationship as elaborated in this declaration. Article 14, systems of knowledge, language, and communication. 1. We, the indigenous people, have the right to preserve, use, develop, and revitalize and transmit to future generation our own history, or our own story rather, languages, oral traditions, because that was a huge part of our life, oral traditions, philosophies, systems of knowledge, writing and literature, and to designate and maintain our own names for our communities, individuals, and places. Okay? So yes, you have a right to give up that name. Yes, it may be a name that your mother gave you, but your mother, bound you to a contract in that name. So you have a right to change that. As a matter of fact, in our own communities, we have a right to change the name of the streets to indigenous names if we so choose. But first, we got to organize, family. First, you got to know that you have rights and not just privileges. Number 2, the state shall adopt adequate and effective measures to protect the exercise of this right with the full and effective participation of we, the indigenous people. In other words, we have to be at the table when those decisions are being made. Let me ask you a question. Why don't we have a seat at the table? All right, then. Number 3. We indigenous peoples have the right to promote and develop all our systems and media of communication, including our own radio and television programs. You see, we don't need permission to do these things. We never needed permission. They came to our land, and you cannot tell us, and you should not tell us, we need permissions to have our own. And to have equal access to all other means of communication and information. So let me ask you a question. If we, the indigenous people, have the right, why haven't we come together and go to BET and let them know, hey, we ain't black, we ain't African American, but we have a right to equal access to your platform as a means of communication and information so we can teach our people? Why aren't we doing that? Why don't we have indigenous talks on those radios that you listen to every single day calling you hoes and bitches and kill niggas? Like I said before, these things are happening to us because we allow it to happen to us. Okay? The state shall take measures to promote the broadcast of radio and television programs in indigenous languages. Yes, they stole our languages, but it's okay. We have our own way of talking, particularly in the areas with indigenous presence. The state shall support and facilitate the creation of indigenous radio and television stations, as well as other means of information and communication. Why isn't there an indigenous entertainment television? But they got BET though. All right then. Promoting the slavery, promoting you that to keep you dead. All right, y'all gonna learn. Number 4, the states in conjunction, you hear that it's always with conjunction. In other words, they're not supposed to do anything that affects us without us not being at the table. The states in conjunction with indigenous people shall make efforts to ensure that those people can understand and be understood in their languages in administrative, okay, political, and judicial proceedings. So why are you always being charged under their judicial system? That is because our people don't know who they are. You feel me? That's the problem. Where necessary, through the provision of interpretation or by other effective means. Number 15, education. 1, indigenous peoples and individuals, particularly indigenous children, have the right to all levels and forms of education without discrimination. Number 2, states and indigenous peoples, in keeping with the principles of equality of opportunity, shall promote the reduction of disparities in education between indigenous and non-indigenous peoples. 3, indigenous people have the right to establish and control their educational systems and institutions. You hear that? So what does that mean? You have a right to homeschool your children if you are indigenous. Okay? If you are black, you don't have a choice. You got to ask for permission. I'm showing y'all the difference. And I'm not knocking my brothers and sisters who call themselves black or African American. I'm just showing you how you are failing because you are not black. You was just programmed to think that. So I'm not knocking that. The people that call themselves black and African American, they are still the indigenous people. They are our family. But I'm just showing them how they need to open up their minds. Okay? Number 3, we the indigenous people have the right to establish and control our educational systems and institutions, provided education in our own languages in a manner appropriate to our cultural methods of teaching and learning. Number 4, in conjunction with indigenous peoples, the state shall take effective measures to ensure that indigenous persons living outside their communities, particularly children, may have access to education in their own languages and cultures. Number 5, states shall promote harmonious intercultural relations, ensuring that the curriculum of state educational systems reflect the plural cultural and multilingual nature of their societies and encourage respect for and knowledge of different indigenous cultures. So let me ask you a question. They got Black History Month, right? Teaching our children they are black and they came from slaves. How come we're not pushing to have indigenous classes in schools? You see, that happens when we lack organization because everybody want to be for self. You see what I'm saying? Everybody want to be for self. Everybody want to be the hero, the shero. I don't want to be no hero. All right, I want to walk with you. I don't want to lead you. I want to walk with you. Okay? Number 6, states in conjunction with indigenous people shall adopt necessary and effective measures to ensure the exercise and observance of these rights. Number 16, indigenous spirituality. One, indigenous people have the rights to freely exercise their own spiritual and beliefs, and by virtue of that right, to practice, develop, and transmit and teach their traditions, customs, and ceremonies, and to carry them out in public and private, and individually and collectively. Okay, when you are indigenous, okay, the herbs that the Creator gave us, it was part of our culture. Now, mind you, I don't smoke it. I don't smoke the herb, okay, because I don't trust where it comes from. But as indigenous people, if that's part of our religious practices and our cultures and our ceremonies. So if you want to be in the middle of 42nd Street doing a spiritual ceremony and you're indigenous, they're not supposed to arrest you or tell you to stop, because Christians could be on corners with their Bibles. Jehovah's Witnesses could be all over the place with their Bibles. Okay? They're not stopping them. So if burning sage in the middle of 42nd Street and, lighting some herb, that's part of our ceremonial practices, then we have a right to do that. Okay? It's not breaking the law. That's our right as indigenous people. But you see, you don't know the rights that you have because you want to be Black and African American. Okay? Number 2, no indigenous people or person shall be subject to pressures or impositions or any other type of coercive measures that impel or limit their right to freely exercise their indigenous spirituality and beliefs. Okay? If your spirituality and beliefs are, when my child is manifested, or what you call born, when my child is born, or when my child arrives, because your birthday is not your birthday. They tricked you into that too. Okay? The birth certificate is nothing but an event that was recorded. That's not your birthday. Your birthday is when the sperm met the egg. That's the time of conception is your birthday. Your arrival date is different. Your arrival date was an event. And they gave you a certificate for the event, which is called your birth certificate. Y'all gonna learn today. If you so choose to learn, that is. Okay, your birthday is when that sperm touched that egg, inception. That's your birthday. You feel me? Okay? Your arrival date is not your birthday. That's why they give you a receipt for that. It was an event, and the receipt is the birth certificate. Okay? All right, here we are now. No indigenous peoples. Let me see. Okay, I read that already. So they cannot, they have no right to coerce us, okay, into giving up our indigenous rights. Period. Number 3, we the indigenous people have the right to preserve, protect. You hear that? Preserve and protect. One of the number 1 laws in the universe, okay, is what? Self-preservation. We have a right to protect. And you do that by any means necessary to protect you and your family. That's your right. Every other culture have that right to do that. When you are a subject, you don't have that right. Your rights only extend to the limitations of what the master gives you when you are a subject. We indigenous people have the right to protect, all right? And access our sacred sites, including our burial grounds, to use and control our sacred what? Objects and relics. When you have your little smoke pipes, they call it paraphernalia. Don't they arrest you for that? Those are your religious relics, your objects of relics, okay, that you use for your sacred practices. It has always been part of our culture. But when you don't know who you are, that's what happens. But like I said, do you? I'm not here to give you any legal advice. Okay? States, in conjunction with indigenous peoples, shall adopt effective measures to promote respect for indigenous spirituality and beliefs, and to protect the integrity of the symbols, practices, ceremonies, expressions, and spiritual protocols of indigenous peoples in accordance with international law. Like I told you before, when you step into the realm of who you truly are, indigenous, it becomes international. Now you are dealing with laws and not ordinances and not codes and statutes. Okay? You take yourself out of being a subject. That is 17, indigenous family. 1, the family is a natural and fundamental group of unit of society. Indigenous peoples have the right to preserve, maintain, promote their own family systems. All right? Your own family systems. Nobody have a right to tell us what our family systems are. States shall recognize, respect, and protect the various indigenous forms of family. You hear that? They say indigenous forms of family because they know we had a whole lot of them. A whole lot of them. All right? Polygamy, monogamy, whether it was a woman with many husbands or a man with many wives, we had all those. All that's part of our family structures. Okay? In particular, the extended family, as well as the forms of matrimonial union, filiations, descent, and family name. In all cases, gender and generational equity shall be recognized and respected. You hear that? Equity. Not debt. Equity. Not debt. When you are black, you are a debtor. You indigenous, you start having equity. All right? I'm saying this again because I love you. I'm giving you the information because I love you. All right? It's not to tear down our brothers and sisters who call themselves black. It's to educate them, all right, so that they give up this illusion, all right? Number 2, in matters relating to custody, let's read that again. In matters relating to custody, severance of family ties, and related matters, the best interest of the child shall be what? Primarily the primary consideration. In determination the best interest of the child, courts and other relevant institutions shall what? Take into account the right of every indigenous child in the community, which member of his or her people, to enjoy his or her own culture, to profess and practice his or her own religion, or to use his or her own language, and in that regard shall look in the indigenous law. Where's our laws at? Of the peoples concerned, and shall consider their points of view, rights, and interests, including the position of individuals, the family, and community. When they take your child, they just take your children because there's nothing else. But when we know we're indigenous and we stand on being indigenous, they can't just come take indigenous children. No, we ain't having that. Okay? We ain't having that. Article 18, health. 2, indigenous peoples have the collective and individual rights to enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical, mental, and spiritual health. 2, indigenous people have the right to their own health systems and practices, as well as the use of protection of the plants, animals, minerals, and vital interests and other natural resources for medical what? For medical use in their ancestral lands and territories. So if the Most High gave us the herb for the healing of the nation, all right, we don't need your permission to call it medicinal. We don't need your permission. We didn't need your permission before you came, so we don't need it while you're here. I hope your minds are opening. All right, now I'm not giving you this as a tool to be lawless. All right, I'm not giving you this as a tool for you to be in dishonor. No, that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you that information so that you know what your rights are. I'm not here asking you to abuse people or disrespect people. No, that's not it. Be in honor, but know your rights. Okay? Number 3, states shall take measures to prevent and prohibit indigenous peoples and individuals from being subject to what? Research programs, biological or medical experiments, as well as sterilization without free and prior consent, informed consent. Okay? Stop being their guinea pigs. You feel me? Likewise, indigenous peoples and persons have the right as appropriate to access to their data, medical records, and documentation of research conducted by individuals and public and private institutions. So if they want to give you problems for getting your own data, no doubt, you sue them for that. But first, before you sue them, you let them know, hey, I'm indigenous, I have that right. I have the right to have access to my documentation and my invitation, and not my invitation, my documentation. Okay? I have a right to that. Number 4, indigenous peoples have the right to use without any discrimination whatsoever. You hear that? Not with some discrimination, but without any discrimination whatsoever, all health and medical care institutions and services accessible to the general population. So as indigenous people, we have a right to health care. So you see, you don't have to sell out, family. You don't have to sell out to be who you are. We are living in a different day and age. States in the consultation and coordination with indigenous peoples shall promote intercultural systems or practices in the medical and health services provided in the indigenous communities, including training of indigenous technical and professional healthcare personnel. Number 5, states shall guarantee the effective exercise of the rights contained in this article. 19, rights to protection of healthy environment. 1, indigenous peoples have the right to live in harmony with nature and to a healthy, safe, and sustainable environment, essential conditions for the full enjoyment of the right to life, to their spirituality, worldview, and collective well-being. 2, indigenous peoples have the right to conserve, restore, and protect the environment and to manage their lands, territories, and resources in a sustainable way. Number 3, indigenous peoples are entitled to be protected against the introduction of abandonment, dispersion, transit, indiscriminate use, or deposit of any harmful substance that could negatively affect indigenous communities, lands, territories, and resources. Number 4, we indigenous people have the right to the conservation and protection of the environment and the productive capacity of our lands or territories and resources. States shall establish and implement assistance programs for we the indigenous people for such conservation and protection without discrimination. Like I said, all we need is organization, family, and that's what this petition is about. It's our first step into organizing. Okay, organizational and political rights. Number 20, rights of association, assembly, and freedom of expression and thought. Number 1, we the indigenous people have the rights of association, assembly, organization, and expression, and to exercise them without interference and in accordance with their worldview. It is not based on what they tell us the worldview is, not based on our worldview. Inter alia means and others, okay? Values, usages, customs, ancestral traditions, beliefs, spirituality, and other cultural practices. Number 2, we the indigenous peoples have the right to assemble on our sacred and ceremonial sites and areas. For this purpose, we shall have free access and use to these sites and areas. So anywhere where they have our sites and they're charging people, they're not supposed to charge us. Within this declaration, we are supposed to have free access. Once again, I am showing you the rights that we have, but it's up to you if you want to implement and apply those rights. If you want to continue to stay dead, that's on you. Number 3, we the indigenous peoples in particular, those who are divided by what? International borders, shall have the right to travel and maintain and develop contacts, relations, and direct cooperation, including activities for spiritual, cultural, political, economic, and social purposes with our members and other people. Now, let me read that again, because this again here is powerful. I'm going to read that again. Number 3, we the indigenous peoples, in particular those who are divided by international borders. It says what? shall have the right to travel and maintain and develop contact. We have a right to travel, family, all over the Americas without any inhabitation, period. And we have a right to do that with our indigenous IDs. Okay? We don't need your passport to travel our lands. This is our land. We don't need a pass. We have a right to travel our land. And it's in this declaration. Now, when you travel on their planes, that's commercial. That's something different. They can control that. But anytime you're on the land and you're moving by an automobile, conveyance, a car, a donkey, a horse, a bike, you have a right to travel our land freely without any problems. Okay? Although we have a right to do it by flight too, but we got to get there. But just know that we have a right to travel all through our lands, including North, South America, and the islands, by just our IDs, because this is our land, self-determination. I'm going to read number 3 again, because a lot of you probably haven't heard me. Maybe you didn't hear me. Okay? Indigenous people, we the indigenous people, in particular those who are divided by international borders, shall have the right to travel and to maintain and develop contacts, relations, direct cooperation, including activities. What? Activities for what? Spiritual, cultural, political, economic, and social purposes with their members and other peoples. Number 4, these states shall adopt in the consultation and cooperation with the indigenous peoples effective measures to ensure the exercise and application of those rights. Okay? I'm going to do one more, and then you could read the rest on your own. Article 21. I wanted to get there. I couldn't wait to get there. The right to autonomy or self-government. Even Obama said it. Your so-called black president said it. Right? If you can't govern yourself, then somebody will do it for you. Okay? As indigenous people, we have a right to self-governance. Just know that. Okay? Number 1, we the indigenous peoples, in exercising our right to self-determination, have the right to autonomy or self-government in matters relating to our internal, okay? Our internal. So when you have issues with baby mommy and baby daddy, why are you making it external? Why is it all over Facebook? Why is it in their courts? Keep it internal. Let's handle our affairs. We are grown people, all right? And local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing our autonomous functions. I'm going to read that again, okay? We, the indigenous people, in us exercising our right to self-determination, we have the right to what? Autonomy or self-government in matters relating to our internal and local affairs. Guess what? In addition, as well as ways and means for financing our autonomous functions. So that means what? I don't need your license to open up a business on my land. This is my land. We were trading before you got here. Period. Number 2, we the indigenous people have the right to maintain and develop our own decision-making institutions. So what does that mean? Exactly what it just said. We have a right to maintain and develop our own decision-making. In other words, we are going to make our own laws that suits us. And once again, I'm not telling you or showing you these rights to be, to abuse things. That's not what I'm doing. Or not to be in honor. No, I'm letting you know that we have rights. And we can be in honor and exercise those rights. You feel me? If you are indigenous, if you know the speed limit is 65, don't be on the highway doing $150. You're risking people's lives. That's irresponsibility. I'm not teaching that. And I'm not promoting that. If you see a stop sign and there's a pedestrian crossing, because you're indigenous, I'm not asking you to go through the stop sign by putting people's lives in danger. That's not what I'm promoting. I'm asking you to be responsible when you promote your rights. That's what I'm asking. But you have those rights. We have them. They also have, not they, but we also have the right to participate in decision-making matters which would affect our rights. So all these laws and ordinances and codes that are being passed, how come we're not at the table saying, nah, this ain't gonna affect us in a conducive, in a way that's conducive to helping us? We don't want that. We have to be at the table, family. All right? We may do so directly, or you hear that? We could do so directly or through our representatives. Because the representative we have, they're not doing it for us. You feel me? Who has the voice for we the indigenous people? And accordance with our own norms, procedures, and traditions, we also have the right to what? Equal opportunities to access, to participate fully and effectively as indigenous peoples in all national institutions, fora, including deliberative bodies. What does that mean? It means that we have a right to also participate in the political system. Where's our indigenous political party? I'm going to conclude here. Like I said, all that information is in the link below the videos, and you do as you may with it. All right? I was given the task, all right, by the Great Spirit, the universe, our ancestors, to put a petition together so that we, the indigenous people, have a voice. We have a platform. You see what I'm saying? It's not where we've been. It's not what happened to us in the past, but it's where we are at today and what we are willing to do. How are we willing to stand? And that's what this petition is about. It's not about asking and begging. No, it's about standing. It's demanding. So I'm asking you to share the petition. Get it to your peoples. Let them know we have to sign this. In fact, I'm telling you to sign this. Instead of going in people's inboxes and posting videos about, oh, we getting killed. Oh, they don't care about us. Oh, Trump is this. Oh, Trump is that. Make this petition go viral. Let's get to 10, 15,000 ASAP, because now we could start making some legislative moves. You feel me? Well, family, what do you think this petition is all about? It's so that we have a political standing. That's what this is about, family. You see, I could only come with the solutions. I don't focus on problems. I will tell you what it is, but I'm not going to focus on the problems. I'm here for solutions, and I'm giving us the solutions. This is about us, our livelihood, our children, our elders, our men, our women. And once again, our brothers and sisters who call themselves Black and African American. This is not a slight or a spite against you. No, I'm just opening up to let you know that the way you are fighting, you're fighting as dead people. Dead people cannot change anything. The dead cannot change anything. The dead cannot affect change. Okay? Now, the result of your death may change something, but why do you have to die to make change? You see, that's what religion teaches you. They don't realize, again, it's the same thing. The religious beliefs. You got to die first before you go to heaven. You got to die. And that's the only time Jesus will do something good for you. You got to die to see the pearly gates. But everybody want to go to the heaven, but nobody want to die. So all I'm just saying is, you don't have to wait to die to live life. But the life that you're living right now, you are dead, calling yourself Black and African American. And anybody who's promoting that, they are your enemy. I don't care what they tell you, they are your enemy. Whether it's intentional or not, they are your enemy. That's facts. Because a lot of them on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, they know damn well what it means to be Black. But you see, it's not getting them paid to do anything differently. So they have to play with your emotions, go with the flow so that they can get paid. I'm not going to put a cash app on my page. I'm not going to do that, you know, and promote lies to you. I'm not going to do that. At least if you're going to put a cash app, do it and be righteous about it. Don't do it on the deception. Don't do it on the lies, false propaganda. Come on, man. You're deceiving your people and you're still asking them to support your cash app and your PayPal by calling them Black and African American because it pays. I'm not going to support that, and I will not condone that. Period. So once again, the petition is here. Make sure we get to 10,000, 15,000 as soon as possible, because that's how we're going to start making some changes in those legislative bodies. We made the petition for 200,000. That's our goal. But within the next month or so, we'll settle for 10, 15,000. Let's make it happen. Each and every one of you, it's your responsibility every 7 days to get at least 5 to 10 people. Let's say 10 people. Let that be your mark, or even more. But all of us, let's be responsible for getting at least 10 people a week to sign that petition. That's not a whole lot. Not a whole lot at all. I know some of you could do a whole lot more. All the big YouTube names that talking about the Indigenous. No, I haven't seen them talking about this petition or even promoting it. So you have to know who's for you. Okay, people don't care how much you care unless you show them how much you care. You feel me? Like I said, if they're promoting you that they're Black, they're your enemies. But you won't see that. You won't see it because you are charmed by their charisma. Like I said, I'm not here to do this for likes. Enough is enough. And I'm willing to stand with you and walk beside you. But I ain't walking in front of no crowd to take a bullet for nobody. Let's stand together. We ride together. We live together. Indigenous for life. Because there's no such thing as death for me. That don't exist in my book. I'm eternal. I'm immortal. I'm a God. Anyway, I'm going to conclude this. And I do wish you guys a beautiful continuation. Take care of each other. All right, continue to love each other. Continue to respect each other. No, trust me, family. Aboriginal American deities, trust me. They know. They know the truth. All right, believe that. They know the truth. You feel me? They know the truth. Let me just run through real quick and just highlight some of you guys, comments. You know what I'm saying? Let me just highlight some of your comments. Okay? I haven't done that in a while. So thank you to each and every one of you, all right, for your comments, for being here, for participating. You know what I mean? Like I said, you could be anywhere on this Sunday because it's Sunday to me because the sun is out. Okay? That's what my Sundays are. And every day is a Sunday to me because the sun is always shining in my life. Okay? So that's just me giving everybody a little highlight, a little support. All right? Here we go. I appreciate love each and every one of you, man. Okay? Your comments, I appreciate it. Okay? Here we go. So thank you. So once again, the petition is there. Make it our duty and obligation. Let's make it an obligation to get at least, if not 10 people a day to sign that. I mean, this is nothing for us, all right? When you get all these different videos of our people getting shot and all this different negative stuff, y'all make it go viral. Y'all make it go viral. Y'all share it 1 million times a day. Well, guess what? This right here, let's get to sharing it. Let's get to 10,000, 15,000 within the next month. Let's do this. We owe it to ourselves. All right? And I'm not just going to put down anybody that's on there calling us Black or African American. Those that are actually on there talking about the truth and telling us who we are and making moves. Well, I thank them as well. I thank them. Okay, because if you're gonna acknowledge those who are doing the injustice, then you have to acknowledge those who are doing the justice. Okay? But even they themselves, they have to get on this petition. All right? Get on this petition. So, like I said, I'm just here giving everybody a little highlight. You know what I'm saying? So, I thank you guys once again, man, for just being a part of this, man. I really appreciate it, man. I love you guys, man. You know what I mean? For real, for real. Okay? Thank you. It means a lot. Indeed, Zazie. Friend of me, them. Can't deal with them people them there. You know? Can't deal with them hypocrites and parasites. You feel me? All right. Somebody asked, what is the status of African Americans? That's it. African Americans. You just said it. It's a rhetorical question. But you tell me what's an African American. All right. All right. So change. We can make change indeed. All right. There we go. Absolutely, team. Thank you. All right. Okay. Like I tell y'all before, man, the power is in our hands. Okay. The power is in our hands. You did. The power is in our hands, family. And once again, I'm gonna reiterate to you guys, I don't play the color game. Okay? I don't play the color game, so don't get me caught up in that trap. I ain't the one. Okay? I ain't the one. Okay, but I'm highlighting everybody's comments. And you know, you'll know who they are. The ones that's on the internet calling you Black and African American, they are your enemies. They're getting paid. They're getting paid to keep you dead. All right? Thank you. Once again, here goes the petition. Let's make it our goal to get to 10 to 15,000 within the next 30 days. That's our goal. I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your continuation. Peace, love, harmony, and light.